it's never been more apparent that the Eastern Conference is the JV conference right now, because you could take you have to go pretty far down the list in the West to find a team that if you just planted them in the Eastern Conference, they wouldn't be the favorite to win the Eastern Conference. There are some good teams up there in the East. Cleveland's probably the favorite to be the number one seed. New York coming off a good year. Orlando, I think, will take a big step. But of the teams out there in the East, which one do you see as being the most formidable come playoff time?
I really like Cleveland Cavaliers. I liked them last year. I think they blew too much in the regular season. I was a big fan of when they brought in DeAndre Hunter. I kind of, before Jason Tatum got hurt, I didn't believe any team can match up with the Celtics, no matter how good they did in the regular season, unless they had a big wing lineup. And that's where I thought the Cavaliers were struggling at. So I believe the league, especially teams in the East, are still trying to figure out, Atkinson's offense. That offense is still great. It has a little bit of pace, but they're great in the half court. You got Donovan Mitchell, that's an all NBA player, all-star, guards, and you have length. They're good offensively and defensively. And, anytime a team is top 10 in offense and defense, that puts you in the best position. Besides that, I'm intrigued to see what the New York Knicks could do, with Mike Brown. I think that offense, obviously, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, they combine for 50 a night. But I think that Mike Brown is going to be able to do his best of bringing out the others, because last year when they struggled, I feel like they had to go through too much of Jaylen Brown or sometimes too much of Cat, when OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are very, very good offensive players. They're more than just 3-and-D guys that you get them involved in as well. And when you view Jordan Clarkson, in addition to that, you look at that offense compared to what Mike Brown did in Sacramento, you might have a Malik Monk type vibe where he's going to put in efficient scoring in a loud fashion and a loud form. But I really believe it's in between those two. And right now, it almost seems like the league is going to have a little extra push to let the Knicks get it done, man. It's almost like rooting for the big shit to win homecoming queen. You know what I mean? It's just like
I can't get the Knicks, to me, like, they'll be good. There's no doubt about it. The Jordan Clarkson addition doesn't do a heck of a lot for me, because we're not talking about Jordan Clarkson from 5 years ago. Like, he was a low percentage shooter last year with Utah, and he's always been kind of a gunner. And we've seen a little bit of that already in preseason. So, like, how does that fit with the Knicks offense, or the Knicks, the whole game plan? Like, Gershon Yabusele, okay, like, great year last year for a god-awful team. And is he that much different than the Gershon I saw in Boston for a few years? I don't know. I don't know. Like, he had one great summer in the Olympics, and then he had a good statistical year in Philadelphia. That doesn't do a lot. Like, to me, it's going to come down, and maybe you can speak to this. Like, the Knicks, I'm watching them in preseason, and I'm listening to some of the quotes. They're trying to do this free-flowing offense, right? Like, a lot of Jalen Brunson off the ball, dribble handoffs, a lot of extra passes. The Knicks were the fifth best offense in the league last year. Like, the offense wasn't broken. They had a system that worked pretty well. And Jalen Brunson turned into a superstar in this league by being on the ball for the last couple of years. Like, I don't know, E.T. Like, in my head, I'm wondering, like Jalen Brunson's trying to make this all work right now under Mike Brown. But is there any possibility, like, we get to, like, the first 2 months of the season and like, Jalen Brunson's numbers have gone down, like, by 5 or 6 points per game, and he's playing off the ball a lot more, that he's going to be like, screw this. Like, we succeeded with me having the ball in my hands as often as I did. Like, I wonder if there's ever going to be any friction between what these players have done successfully over the last couple of years and what Mike Brown wants to do.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to the NBA, it's one thing when you go on the floor of the game, and it's one thing when it comes down to winning time. Everywhere you go, when it comes down to winning time, you get the ball to your killers. Yeah. So I think once the fourth quarter hits and it's a heavy dose, and Jalen Brunson he's not scared to call his own play either. And I don't think it's in a disrespectful sense, but I think when you first get a new coach, you get a new system, you're trying to change a little bit of identity. I believe he's into, buying in and doing so. But the NBA is always the same thing. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmys and Joes. And you're going to give it to your two killers. Mike Brown knows there's nothing that the other team doesn't want to see more than Jalen Brunson having the ball in his hands. And, when you want to keep your job and all this and you start looking at the numbers, it's going to add up. And I'll give Mike Brown credit for that. But the last 5-10 minutes of the game is always going to turn and fist up 5 and give it to your killer.
And he's proven he can do it remarkably. So I do think you're sleeping a little bit on Orlando, though. I do. I mean, that is a team that physically will beat the crap out of you. I remember talking to people in Boston after they beat the Magic in 5 games in the first round, and it was the hardest 5-game series that they'd ever been in because the Magic will grind you down. They will win games if they can keep it in the 80s. Yeah. And I know they were the 7 seed last year, but that's only because Banchero was out early. Franz Wagner was out in the middle of the season. You had Jalen Suggs miss the second half of the season with that knee injury. Now you get all those guys back, and you get Desmond Bane added to that mix. You have to see how it plays out, right? Is Bane the perfect fit that he kind of looks like on paper? But that team, number 2 defense in the league, top 3 defense the last 2 years. You give them a little bit more offense, Evan, they're going to be a tough team to knock out.
No, absolutely. Desmond Bane showing up, he shoots almost 40% from the 3. That definitely helps because Orlando's historically one of the worst 3-point shooting teams of the decade, right? So if you give a little space of that, or at least that last year team, KCP is there as well. I don't think he'll shoot as bad as he did last year. If you give Paulo and Wagner just a little bit of space, that's a big problem anybody's going to have to deal with. They just need a little bit of space. Sometimes when it came down to it, and Paulo, it would get so crowded that you would see him having to shoot step backs and, go to, hero ball a little bit. But I believe if they find a little bit more shooting, and obviously defense really matters. And when it comes down to playoff basketball, to have to handle those two, even when you look last year, Paulo got hurt, Wagner got hurt, but they still figured out ways to win. When Paulo was out, Wagner averaged 26-6, was 13-7. You know what I mean? And then vice versa, Paulo still did his thing. Where they fell off at was the glue guy when Jalen Suggs got hurt. And that's where you could tell they struggled. So now that he's back, along with the help of a couple of other pieces, I can see, them making it to, the Eastern Conference Finals and trying to make a push, because those 2 matchups head to head, those are 2 big boys.
Can any of those teams win a finals series against whoever comes out of the West?
Man, that's aggressive. That's aggressive. Why would you ask me that?
I don't know.
I think the East is such a big, it's so open in the East that you're even hearing conversation of Tatum talking about, I might be back in March.
Oh, that'd be bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
I
Not worth it.
I totally dig you. You never know, but who knows what occurs, but it's really that if you're sitting back and being all we got to do is beat who? The Cavs?
No.
You got to beat, you know what I mean? Maybe you have to beat a hot Orlando, or if you're not
even
worried about.
If you were dropping, and no matter what, I would advise Tatum to sit out the entire year. That's just such a tricky injury and has such a high. Sometimes, and you played, so sometimes you don't know when you're overcompensating for certain parts of your body. It might feel great in your Achilles, but you might be overcompensating. I think he needs a full year, and even if he didn't, they're not bringing the same team back, right? Namus Keita is the starting center right now in Boston. Chris Boucher is going to get minutes at power forward. You're just not. You're not built. You're built to win in 25 or 26, 27. That would be my advice to them.
No, absolutely. And this year with Boston Celtics, you hear about them having 3-hour practices. You hear about them, trying to pick it up defensively and being, more tenacious. And I think this is going to draw, Joe Mazzulla to eventually turn out to get into his Coach Spo bag and start winning with whatever he has, and I think that's what he's really, really, really looking forward to. I went to UFC, 317 with him in Chicago, and he was super excited. He's like, no, Jason being out, I want him to come back. I want to be healthy, but he's like, this gives us an opportunity to try some different stuff. He was ready for the challenge to be like, hey, you're not about to tell me I had the richest team in NBA history. We know how to coach. We have a culture, and we have some very good players still. And they do. They have very good guard play. And, they have I believe in culture so much, and you got Luke Cornett over there making noise in San Antonio Spurs, and I know Luke is a good guy, and his career was going to be that, but it was he was founded in a great culture that put him in position to succeed. You know, you got what's Hauser's first name? Love the guy.
Sam Hauser, yeah.
Hauser. But I still don't know his name, but we're talking about Sam Hauser. He's an NBA champion, and he's going to play 10 more years because he has a winning culture, knows what he needs to do. And these guys are going to step up, and they're very serious about winning. So, I mean, I wouldn't night in, night out. No, Jason ain't there, but those guys still went 10-3 without him. I mean, I know it's still not the same team. Don't let me get that wrong, but I mean, you know what Peyton Pritchard do? Jaylen Brown's trying to step up, and you have some hungry guys with a chip on their shoulder, and they're not really worried about anybody in the East, regardless if Jason's out. And it could be delusional, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think it's delusional, and I think they're very much in play for one of those 10 postseason slots. I just think fundamentally, don't bring Tatum back. Don't do it. Yeah. Don't risk it. There's too much runway for him to win championships in the year after. Like, they'll be loaded next year. You bring him back, you got 2 cornerstone guys. Pritchard's still there, White's still there, Hauser's still there. Like, you got a 7-man rotation already before you're talking free agency and trades and all that other good stuff. So I don't know. I think they're on the same page with that too. Like, I know Tatum, and when I talk to him, you know, I get what he's doing. Like, he wants to mentally be working towards something, but when we get to a certain point of the calendar, you got to be like, hey man, just start thinking about summer league or something to get back on the floor.
Yeah. Also too, it's just like, not like it's bad, it's legacy, but by the time he comes back, he could arguably be chasing SGA 2-1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's an easy catch up, but I don't think he likes that at all. We also forget after they beat them in Boston, SGA threw up his logo on the side of TD Garden. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's deeper than rap. I know we're like, yo, you got more money and making more this than a third. Like, Jason's a competitor. He's thinking like that. Like, nah, nobody's this. You know what I mean? Things are occurring in this league where we're trying to figure out who's a big dog, and he's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. It's definitely a storyline in the Eastern Conference. But man, like, after watching KD go down after that calf injury in 2019, like, those injuries, even in today's age of modern technology, modern medicine, like, that's the one that scares me the most as someone that watches the game, because you know how serious it is. And that feeling,
everything has, this is like, can I get around? It's like, no, you can't get around that. Like, like at all. And also too, when you break down like how big of a commodity he is when I told him, I was like, Jason, like, he's like, man, I didn't even have time to think. They put me in surgery. I'm like, yeah, because you literally are Jason Tatum. Like, you are $1 billion entity. You know what I mean?
I remember he told me, he's like, he went to the hospital to get it checked and confirmed, and the doc was in there. Martin O'Malley does all the procedures. He's like, I got an opening at 3. Tatum's like, all right, well, let's do it.
And he was like, what? I remember telling me, he's like, what? And they're like, yeah, you're doing this. They're like, no, I know how you feel, but like, no, you belong.
Better get it done, I guess. Get it over with and start the process, start the road back.
Absolutely. And he's back.